Merry meet and welcome! Today we're taking on the Sims winter cake. So this is something I've just been putting off because I wanted to introduce some extra elements to it. So what you'll see soon is the vegan fondant that I made. I wasn't sure how it was going to work out, so that's why I wanted to go ahead and do it and then just film the intro after. So here we are. I have just finished making this. I'm so happy it worked out so much better than I thought. Underneath this cake we do have the chocolate cake, so we use the exact same recipe as we did before for the Sims chocolate cake. So I'm just going to go ahead and link that here. And then inside of it, so we do have our vegan buttercream, and so I wanted to make sure to save some of that, and I'll link the Sims hamburger cake for the vegan buttercream when we were experimenting with that. And so with that though, I wanted to save as much as possible, so I didn't want to use it as the filling for the frosting, and I had the brilliant idea to use the same jelly that we're going to be using. So we have a whole cranberry jelly in the center for a filling. It just looked really good and I'm very excited. I just felt very smart in the moment. Especially because I was looking at this winter cake, and I don't know if you've ever stared at that winter cake graphic and you're like, what is that? I could not figure it out, and I decided to go ahead and look up. It's a winter cake, so I was like, well, it's probably something seasonal and it looks like a jam. So I was like, so let me just look up some seasonal fruits, and then it was like cranberry. It was like number one. I was like, oh my gosh, of course it is whole cranberry jam. So we have that here. I did not make it because personally I think they taste the same when you make it versus if you just buy it from the can. So maybe a little blasphemous, but do what you want. And then for the pine needles, we were just gonna pipe them on. I did find like some recipes where it was like, here's how to make edible pine needles, and I was like, that is like, it's really encouraging, but I was like, it was like, be very careful, and I was like, you know what, I don't need that stress. I don't need that stress. So I just decided I'm gonna go ahead and just pipe pine needles essentially. And then same thing, edible pine cones, it just would have taken a lot more work than I wanted to give, and so then I was looking at some other cute things, and I found peanut butter and like a Chex Mix is a way to make like a craft a mini pine cone. So that is all of our elements that we're going to do to decorate. I'm going to load up my reusable silicone piping bag, and I'm gonna practice piping with the ones on the side. When we come back, we won't pipe that first. We'll actually start working on the pine cone, throw on the jelly, or maybe pipe first. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go, but I'm gonna go ahead and check in with you real soon when we are decorating the top of our cake. Merry meet and welcome! So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be trying to make a fondant to go over our cake. And so I've never had store-bought fondant. I'm told that that is really gross. I think if people don't like marshmallow, they won't like fondant, and if it's not made fluffy enough, which we're hoping to accomplish. I have never made fondant with vegan marshmallows though. So these are the Dandy's brand. Normally it's just like a whole bag of marshmallows. It doesn't really matter the size or anything. Unfortunately, because I couldn't resist, I did roast a couple of these marshmallows, so it's not a whole bag, so I'm hoping we have enough to cover our cake. It's a smaller cake than I normally do, so it should be enough. What we're going to do actually is we're going to heat up, and so for a whole bag is typically like 3 tablespoons of water, and then you put it in the microwave 30 seconds and it should start to melt, and you want it to get super melty, and then we will be back here. So I'll be back and then I'll tell you the total time that it took for this one. I'm doing about 2 tablespoons because it's not the whole bag. Yeah, we'll check in with you real soon. Merry meet again. So here we are. It took about 1.5 minutes to get to this texture, so you just want to do it in 30-minute intervals to make sure it kind of goes well. And yeah, we get this lovely hot melted goo, and now I eyeball this typically. Is there a measurement? Probably. But it's very similar to like when you're making flour, or when you're making like bread or anything with flour, is that you're essentially going to be using this until we're able to mold it into a dough. So I'm just gonna keep mixing this in here, and you see how it's gonna get kind of incorporated. This is all of our ingredients. So like if you wanted colored fondant, we would add that at a later point, just to be clear. I'll talk about that later. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, keep mixing this in here until it gets to a decent form to where I can mold it with my hands, and we'll check in when it's actually on here and we're actively kneading the fondant. So all I'm doing, adding powdered sugar into our marshmallow fluff until I can get it into a dough. Check in with you soon. Merry meet again. So here we are, we dumped it out, and you can see like it still has some stickiness to it, but we're able to touch it a little bit more, and we have more powdered sugar on standby. This is dough. So we're gonna go ahead and just start kneading this just like you would with the bread dough, and then what you use instead is powdered sugar, obviously. And yeah, you are gonna do this until it gets to that nice thin texture. I feel like I should have shifted my flour ahead of time. My powdered sugar ahead of time, because it keeps getting like these clumps and it's still so sticky rather than spreading out. So that's on me. It just means I'm probably not going to have that smooth of a surface, but for what we're trying to do, that may not matter. But I definitely need some more powdered sugar, so I'm going to add that, continue kneading this, and check in with you guys once we are at an actual good point with our dough ball. Merry meet and welcome. So here we are, we have our more finished fondant dough. I definitely recommend sifting the powdered sugar ahead of time. I was just being lazy and I didn't think the lumps would be as bad as they were, and they are, and it clearly shows in this. I personally, like, it's supposed to look like snow, so I'm kind of like leaning into it. I'm like, any imperfections just makes it look more realistic for my project. So if you're making this fondant though and you're like, I want to add colors to it, what you do is you're going to make an indent with your finger, add a few drops of dye into it, and then you knead it in. And you want to be very careful to be mindful of where that is. Wear gloves if you can, because it will stain your hands and you don't want it to squirt out onto wherever you're working. The first time I ever did this, I was using red. And it just squirted out and it just looked like blood, and it was not fun. But yeah, and then you would just keep kneading it. You always want to start with only a few drops because you can always add more, and you'll be shocked, like, as you knead it, just how much the color comes out in the whole dough. So yep, there is going to be that. So now we have our rolling pin, we have powdered sugar surface. Some people use cornstarch at this point as well, especially because, like, with marshmallow, if you ever make homemade marshmallow, that's typically what you're doing. Now I am pretty confident I don't have enough. So we're going to roll this out, and then something I want to kind of do, make sure that it's always not sticking to the bottom. You can clean your surface first and do that. I'm doing this extra step for that reason, and that's why you're gonna see me lifting it periodically. But I know I don't have enough fondant, so what I'm doing is I'm just looking for this to like partially cover it and feel a little bit more like it is just snow covering it. So you'll see the cake here in a moment. Well, technically, well, I guess you've seen what the finished product looks like because that's our intro. I wasn't sure if this fondant would work, so because I've never made it. It works exactly the same as regular marshmallows, so that's super fun. But yeah, I was like, oh, if this doesn't work, I don't want to kind of show that failure. So it's like, I'll just make this first. I won't know unless I do it. So that's why we get this like flashback moment versus like all of it, because I was ready for it to just be buttercream. Okay. I was trying to get a circle and then I didn't plan that well. But something else that you can do with this, and just like with pie crust, is you can use your rolling pin and your arm as well to really make sure. So we're going to use that to help us make sure it's not sticking, but also eventually to actually lay out. So I am trying to get this as thin as possible to put over our actual cake. I feel like I'm like, it's shocking at how you used to decorate cakes. sometimes, because it's like, don't you know how to get like the right shape for this? But honestly, I just had excess fondant, so I didn't have to worry about getting the right round shape. This is the first time I'm really like, let's do it. Okay, this is probably the best I'm gonna get it. So we're gonna go ahead, grab our cake, and we're gonna lift this and do it. Merry meet again. So here we are, we're about ready. This is our cake. I know you probably saw it, but I wanted to show you like the original thing. And so we did a buttercream crumb frost. Technically, I'm totally fine decorating on top of this. I like the authenticity. We did a chocolate cake, so we'll go ahead and have that linked as well. Because it's the same. We use the chia egg, everything's the same. And then I'll also go ahead and have the birthday cake linked because that's where we really put in the vegan buttercream. But this one was more about talking about the fondant and the actual decorating and just having a little bit of fun and figuring out like, what is that winter cake? So I will go ahead, let this part be done so that we can finish this and we'll be all caught up. And we'll check in with you with actual decorating. So here we go. We're gonna go ahead, lift our arm up. So, because I just feel like I have more control over my arm, but also because I'm gonna do that. Here we go. And now I am going to go back over the rolling pin so that I can lift it and drape it. You want to be very careful once you put fondant down. It is essentially down. So that's why I'm not fully incorporating it yet onto anything. Also, apparently I definitely had more than enough is what we're seeing. We were stressing for no reason. And I'm just gently, because it's gonna be not perfect, so I'm just gently trying to get these edges down to where we'll cut off the fondant and it'll be around the cake. We won't feel too bad about anything. And then you just have extra fondant that you can eat. And since this is the marshmallow kind, it's just marshmallow and powdered sugar. It's just sweetness. Okay, so, oh my gosh, I really did not think I would have this much fondant left over. I'm very happy and proud. Yes. Okay, so I have a little paring knife here. So it is still marshmallow, so I'm kind of using the pool to help me cut it rather than directly cutting it. I probably could have kept a little bit extra, but I really just want this part to be done. This is the part that I feel people can mess up the easiest is fondant. I also feel like I'm saying it like Fanta, Fanta, don't you want a fondant? Anyways. Okay, this was the part I couldn't quite get it as round, and that's just a reality. I'm not a master baker, so okay. Sorry, you oh my gosh. I'm so happy. Okay, so I definitely could have left a little bit more. This is, again, normally I shouldn't have used something with raised edges, because if I hadn't, it definitely would have been so much easier to drape and stuff. But you know me, these are the fancy plates. I feel like it's not sticking to the cake, which is weird because we do have that buttercream, so there's not actually any reason for it not to be sticking. And then, like I said, any of these like imperfections I feel like just help add to the landscape texture. And even this, we're using this like it's already fallen snow. But with that, I'm gonna go ahead with this. That's the little area where you can see. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead, put this to the side, clean this up, and we will be back with you when we're full on decorating. So talk to you soon. Marry me again. So I did some of the piping and they look kind of like Christmas trees, but also what is a pine needle but an element of a Christmas tree. So, or a winter tree, a pine tree. They look like pine trees, right? And so it's a mild success for someone who has no idea what they're doing. Ironic, I know. I did a lot for my decorating. I didn't do a lot of piping. I did a lot of fondant making. So that's why I thought it was so funny that I was having so much issues earlier. But so the trickiest thing I think for us to have to work on is in fact the pine cone. So that is what we're going to work on first here. For the peanut butter, you should not need much, and this should not take much from me. Like, expert wise, like we're using like a tablespoon of peanut butter, and this is going to be the base of our pine cone. And so the jelly is like literally like half the cake and like a whole dollop right here with like the pine here, or the pine needle part here. So we're just going to try and put this right here, and that's it. So it's like half a tablespoon, not even a whole one. But now we're gonna go ahead and use our little Chex Mix to create the pine cone part itself. I am realizing I think I need this part to be the top. So I'm gonna edge that one out that way, and then I'm gonna fill in on the sides a little bit and a little in the center. So we're gonna see it fanning out essentially. And then I should do the corners. I think having it be the corners probably is gonna make it look a little bit more like pine cone needly, or maybe alternating even. Obviously I've never done this before. I'm just very excited to try it. I feel like it's kind of working, you know? I feel like it kind of looks like it though. Do I think someone without being told would know what it is? Maybe not. But after being told would be like, oh my gosh, yeah. It looks like I'm like doing a little bow, to be honest. Okay, so I'm gonna try to round this out like so. So I could have definitely done more peanut butter. I just was like, I don't need to make that big of a pine cone. But we forgot that I'm crazy. Okay, so I'm trying to level out this, structure it more, so it obviously gets like wide in the center, and then I want it to be kind of flat at the bottom and have a point towards the top. Okay, so I don't know. Right? Especially when you look at it from all around. I mean, for not wanting to take like a month to make an actual edible pine cone, pretty good, pretty good. This also is going so much faster than I thought, and I'm very proud of myself. I've been dreading decorating because I was like, oh, I just want to eat cake. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and do the pine needle. So I am not good at this. I have no idea what I'm even doing. The tip needle is called 6L2, so I just didn't want to do a straight one, even though ironically pine needles are straight. So it's like this, and then I'm just kind of doing like a back and forth motion, like a wave. But yeah, there we go. Right? That doesn't look too bad. For someone who's like not an actual professional, pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, so now we're gonna we have like a whole cranberry dollop. That's just like front and center. And then it literally is just cranberry jelly. So we're gonna go ahead and form this a little bit. And you know, to be fair, with the peanut butter and Chex Mix, it's just gonna go really well. Oh my gosh, you could not tell me that that does not look exactly like the winter cake. If I end up being good at editing by the time this comes out, maybe I'll have like a side by side. I do want to, okay, I'm going to go ahead and add, because I still have some more within here, by the way. So you always want to fill it and then push it all the way down and then twist here, and then that's where you put your pressure in your hand, is you push it out that way. And so with this, looks like there's like pine needles like at the bottom here, so we're just gonna try to do this. This is the problem area of the fondant. We're just gonna zigzag. I think that's what I was looking for, the term I was looking for earlier too. We're just gonna zigzag between these as best we can. As you can tell, this is why I did this part off camera, because it is significantly harder. But then, you know, we have the stuff. If I would have done this part too, it might have looked like more natural the way that they come out. But anyways, this is better than I could have hoped to be able to do. So we are not feeling too bad about our accomplishments. That's it. I'm proud of myself, dude. So now I'm gonna go ahead, eat into this, and I hope you guys are having just a fabulous month. See you in the next one. Bye.